Our hearts go out to everyone affected by the devastating earthquakes that recently struck Venezuela. In a matter of seconds, homes collapsed, families were separated, and entire communities were left searching for loved ones. As rescue teams from around the world rushed in, they were joined by some of the most extraordinary first responders on Earth. Not people, but dogs. One dog in particular captured global attention. A border collie named Tsunami was filmed tirelessly searching through collapsed buildings alongside emergency crews. Different news outlets have reported different rescue totals, ranging from around 13 people to more than 20. And those figures are still evolving as officials continue reviewing the rescue effort. Whatever the final number turns out to be, one thing is beyond dispute. Tsunami spent days working in dangerous conditions, helping rescuers search for survivors when every second counted.
Watching dogs like Tsunami at work raises an incredible question. How many lives have dogs saved throughout history? The answer is impossible to calculate. For centuries, they've searched mountains buried by avalanches, forests where children disappeared without a trace, cities shattered by earthquakes, and buildings reduced to rubble by war and terrorism. Time and time again, they found people everyone else believed were lost. Today, we're looking at some of the greatest rescue dogs ever known. Not because they're famous, but because their stories remind us why dogs have earned the title of humanity's best friend. One of the first dogs to become an international symbol of hope was a yellow Labrador named Frida. If you've ever seen a Labrador wearing protective goggles and bright blue boots, you've probably seen her. Those boots weren't for decoration. They protected her paws from broken glass, twisted metal, jagged concrete, and anything else waiting beneath the rubble. The goggles shielded her eyes from dust and debris as she crawled through places that were often too dangerous for people to enter. Frida served with the Mexican Navy for more than a decade. During that time, she responded to earthquakes, landslides, explosions, and other disasters in Mexico and overseas. According to the Mexican Navy, she took part in 55 rescue missions over the course of her career and was officially credited with locating 12 people alive, while also helping teams recover the bodies of more than 40 victims so their families could finally have answers. That last part is easy to overlook. When we think about rescue dogs, we naturally focus on the lives they save. But for many families, simply knowing what happened to a loved one brings an end to days or even weeks of unbearable uncertainty. Frida gave people hope in more ways than one. She became internationally famous after the devastating 2017 earthquake in central Mexico. As television cameras followed rescue crews through collapsed schools and apartment buildings, one image kept appearing over and over again. A calm Labrador in blue boots, carefully climbing over unstable concrete while rescuers watched her every move. People around the world fell in love with her almost overnight. Children drew pictures of her. Artists painted murals in her honor. Toy companies even made plush versions of her. Stories like Frida's make one question almost unavoidable. How can a dog find someone buried beneath several feet of concrete when highly advanced machines sometimes can't? The answer lies in one of nature's greatest engineering marvels. A dog's nose. Humans have roughly 6 million scent receptors. Many working dogs have close to 300 million. The part of their brain devoted to processing smell is also dramatically larger than ours. To them, the world isn't just something they see, it's something they smell. Every one of us constantly sheds tiny skin cells carrying our unique scent. Even when someone is trapped beneath layers of rubble, microscopic air pockets allow scent molecules to slowly escape. Rescue dogs are trained to detect those scent trails and ignore almost everything else around them. That's why even today, with drones, thermal imaging cameras, and sophisticated electronic sensors, search and rescue teams across the world still depend on dogs. Technology keeps improving. Dogs remain indispensable. Perhaps the greatest example of that came on one of the darkest days in modern history. On the morning of September 11, 2001, nearly 10,000 emergency workers rushed toward the collapsing World Trade Center. Among them was a German shepherd named Apollo.
Apollo wasn't just one of the first rescue dogs to arrive at Ground Zero. He was one of the first responders, period. As he and his handler, Peter Davis, made their way toward the collapsed towers, burning debris rained down around them. At one point, Apollo narrowly escaped serious injury after falling into water moments before hot debris crashed into the area where he had been standing. Covered in dust but otherwise unharmed, he did something that perfectly captures the spirit of a rescue dog. He got up, shook himself off, and went straight back to work. For days, Apollo searched through unstable piles of twisted steel and concrete, alongside firefighters and rescue crews, hoping against hope that someone was still alive beneath the wreckage. Sadly, as the hours turned into days, the chances of finding survivors grew smaller. But Apollo didn't know that. He kept searching because that's what he'd been trained to do. His determination would later earn him the PDSA Dickin Medal, one of the highest honors ever awarded to an animal for bravery. It's often described as the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross, and if any dog earned it, Apollo certainly did. Apollo wasn't the only dog searching Ground Zero. More than 300 search and rescue dogs from across the United States were deployed to the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the Fresh Kills landfill in the days and weeks after the attacks. As time passed, successful rescues became heartbreakingly rare. Handlers began noticing something unexpected. Some of the dogs seemed frustrated. They had been trained to search, find a person, and receive praise or a favorite toy as a reward. Instead, they searched for hours without making a single find. So the handlers came up with an idea. Every so often, one of them would quietly hide somewhere in the rubble. The dog would eventually locate them, receive enthusiastic praise, and think, "Yes, I found someone." It wasn't done to fool the dogs. It was done to protect their morale. Even after all their training, these dogs still believed every search should end with someone coming home alive. If that doesn't tell you something about the heart of a rescue dog, I don't know what does. One of those dogs was a golden retriever named Bretagne. She was only 2 years old when she arrived in New York with her handler, Denise Corliss. It was her very first deployment as a search and rescue dog. For 10 days, Bretagne searched the smoking ruins of the World Trade Center. The work was exhausting. The ground was unstable. The air was thick with dust. Yet every morning, she was ready to go again. After 9/11, Bretagne continued serving for years. She deployed after Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Rita, and several other major disasters before retiring. In 2016, at the age of 16, Bretagne's health had declined to the point where her family made the heartbreaking decision to let her go peacefully. When she arrived at the veterinary hospital in Texas, firefighters, police officers, emergency responders, veterinarians, even complete strangers, they lined both sides of the hallway as Bretagne slowly walked toward the examination room for the last time. Quick question before we continue. There are dozens of incredible hero dogs we couldn't fit into a single video. Some rescued children buried by avalanches. Others located hikers who had been missing for days. A few became military heroes whose stories are almost unbelievable. If you'd like another documentary featuring those amazing dogs, type "more dog heroes" in the comments. I read every comment, and if enough of you want it, we'll make it happen. The next story brings us back to where we started, back to a border collie named Tsunami, whose determination reminded the world that even in humanity's darkest moments, some heroes never stop searching. Scientists can explain how dogs smell. They can explain their training. They can explain why certain breeds excel at search and rescue. But one thing that's much harder to explain is why dogs choose us with such complete devotion. For thousands of years, they've guarded our homes, protected our children, walked beside us through wars, disasters, and some of history's darkest moments. And we humans will forever not deserve them.